Did you know that Canada has one of the highest tax systems in the world? Today's video, I'm going to discuss with you some untold truths, reasons why unfortunately people leave Canada. My two previous videos highlighted reasons why you should move here. You need to know also people do come here and they choose not to live here. If you are looking for those bad things about Canada that might keep you away from coming here, or maybe if you're already here that might motivate you to get out of here as soon as possible, this is the right video for you. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Did you know that Canada has one of the highest tax systems in the world? Actually, the federal marginal rate is at 26%, and that is for people who are earning about less than 150,000 K. Want to start earning somewhere more than 150,000, that rate increases to 29%. More than say 200,000, your tax rate increases to 33%. I know a lot of us do not earn 150,000. Say for example, you earn about $60,000 to $70,000 in Canada a year. Your taxes is going to be about say 20,000 to 30,000. Ridiculous. That drives us crazy because that means that whatever you take home, the government takes back, and we don't want that. Some people have argued that the tax rates are high because of the roads, the hospitals. Let me know what your own opinion is about taxes in Canada, because I personally think that we can still have healthcare, roads and education and still not have to pay that amount of money we are paying on taxes. The amount of taxes that you pay differ from province to province. Quebec seems to have one of the highest taxes in Canada. It seems as if Alberta is the best place to work in if your main issue is taxes. Maybe you go to Alberta, but let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong, because I may be wrong. But the tax system here is ridiculous and it frustrates everybody. People do prefer to go work in places where when they get the net income, that money actually stays in their pockets and they don't have to pay a huge proportion of that back to the government in the form of taxes. So that is, I think, a very good reason why people come here and they do not hesitate to get out. Second untold truth about living in this country: public health. While I raved in my past two videos on how healthcare is free in Canada, nothing is ever just that free, okay? There's always a catch. The catch here is that our hospitals are so very understaffed, and that means that when you're sick and you go to the hospital, the waiting times are ridiculous. When I just came here, I was at a hospital. It took almost a day to just get a doctor to attend to us. That was at the Gatineau hospital. And then the next time someone was sick, I decided this time to go to the Ottawa hospital. There was a difference, but the waiting times were still very high. I think instead of maybe waiting a day, we had to wait maybe 12 hours. You have to wait at least 6 hours. That's just it. And for someone whose health is actually an issue, you know, who is at risk, someone will not want to visit the hospital in this country because you might end up dying. I mean, that's the worst case. I know if it gets to that point, you will be rushed, but in order for you to get that fast service, you really need to be dying. You need to go there. When they take your temperature, it has to be at 1000 degrees Celsius. Like, your level of pain has to be at the maximum. That way they will take care of you. But if you just go there and you can still sit by yourself, you're gonna wait 6 hours. A lot of people prefer to go elsewhere where they are able to pay maybe higher, but then have someone who can attend to them immediately. And mind you, some patients require surgeries, and sometimes these surgeries get postponed and cancelled just because there are not enough doctors to take care of the appointments. So our healthcare may be free, but there is a catch because you will wait for the doctor. The system is short-staffed, and there is a lot of people here in Canada who are always in need of medical attention. That is another reason why people get in here and then they find ways to get out. The next reason why people find they need to get out of Canada as soon as possible is the high cost of living. Even though I mentioned in the other videos that we have a good quality of life here, salaries are high here, however, everything is very extremely costly. Properties are very costly, food is very costly, especially with the recent events. The cost of everything has skyrocketed. It looks like it's the cost of fuel that is going down these days. Everything is high cost. Imagine receiving that salary of yours, say 4,000 for the month, and out of that 4,000, 2,000 is going back to the government as taxes, and everything is very expensive. Can you imagine how much you end up with? That's why a lot of people in Canada really do earn much, but they still live an average life. High taxes, high cost of everything. So people will prefer to go work in places where the cost of living is relatively low. The next step actually still ties into the cost of living. It also ties a little bit into taxes. Here in Canada, what you see as the price of something in the shop is actually not the real price. Okay, so if you go to the shop and you want to buy, say, this jacket, and they've put the tag on it, it says $20. Just know in your head that it's not $20 you're going to pay at the checkout. There's going to be the taxes added to it. That is very frustrating for people, and sometimes when people don't see where their money is going, they choose to get out. The next thing that we don't like here in Canada is phone bills. We have only a few big cell phone networks here like Bell, Fido, Rogers, and they actually do cover like very good frequencies, high speed quality internet, and they really provide great coverage. But the thing is that they are so damn expensive, and comparing to neighboring countries, like Canada actually does pay a little more higher on phone bills than other countries. Canada pays 20% higher than America, which is just here by the side. The worst of all, 170% more than Australia. The three big competitors, which are Rogers, Bell, and Telus, they actually own about 90% of the network, and therefore they charge higher, because obviously if you do economics, you know that if there are few businesses providing a service, that means there is lesser competition, and therefore they jump up the prices. We, the consumers, have no choice. People don't like that, and so that pushes people to leave. All right, before I go into the next one, I'm sure not all of us are happy to live in Canada. So why don't you let us know below what you hate about this country? If you've already left, let us know why you left. If you're planning to leave, let us know why you're planning to leave, and it will be a good time for you to subscribe and hit the notifications bell. Car insurance. If you own a car in Canada, you would know about insurance averages on the cost of insurance in the different provinces in Canada. Now this varies per province, but on average the cost of car insurance is very high. If you're here and you're about to buy a car, be mindful about the kind of car that you want to buy, and also where you're going to be staying, because these two factors are going to impact how much you pay on your car insurance. Imagine you are a household and maybe you have maybe 3 cars or 2. That's a lot to pay for car insurance, and this is something that is obligatory in Canada. That cost also depends on your previous history. If you're someone who's been driving recklessly and having points taken out, your insurance is going to be like very, very high. Because of this high insurance cost, a lot of people will prefer to go to other countries where they will pay relatively low on their transportation. Another reason why people choose to leave this country is because of the lifestyle is to go around. There is not so much nightlife, for example, in Canada. Here, we really don't know how to chop life compared to other countries. If you're someone who likes a lot of night out and party, Canada is relatively low, and people actually consider Canada boring. It's a big deal. It's a thing. We get told all the time that we are boring. You know, some people cannot just deal. There are people who only function when they are out and going. So people like that find it difficult to live here because Canada does not provide that kind of lifestyle. People choose to go to places where they can just have fun. Another issue we have here is transportation. Why we have the most advanced transportation in some parts, moving from one particular city to another is an issue. There is a railway coming. I missed the opportunity to actually work on that Canadian railway that is about to connect Ottawa to Toronto. Even though that is coming, at this moment, if you have to travel from Ottawa to Toronto, it's hard. You can either drive or book a shared ride, but the transportation system is not like in Europe where you can just pop on a train, Paris, and you are in the UK, you're in London in 1 or 2 hours. That difficulty, because this country is very big, it's like moving from one city to another. It's like driving across countries. It's too much land everywhere, no vegetation, so people find it hard to just travel around. And of course, here we don't drive like the Americans, like An American will drive 2 hours to work and drive 2 hours back every day and do not care. We are not like that. We are not built like that. So when people like that, who are used to that kind of lifestyle, once they find out that Canada doesn't provide that for them, it's only obvious that they start to look for ways to get out. The next thing I want to share, homesickness and depression. The quality of life in Canada is relatively high, but there are places, for example, Nova Scotia, known to have a low quality of life, and so it leaves people with a lot more depression than all other provinces. But generally, it's easy to get sad and depressed here. So when people start missing their families, feeling homesick, all they do is get out, and it's really not that easy to bring family over here. Let's talk about the next reason why people move: for retirement reasons. Can you imagine having to go through all these things I've named, and then when you get to your retirement age, at that age you don't want to be doing anything, you just want to sit at home, do some self-care, drink some coffee, eat some good food, and watch the news. So can you imagine going through all these things and then still staying in the country at that age? When people get to retirement age, all they do is leave this country because they want to, first of all, go to places where the quality of life is good but the cost of living is a bit low, so that the amount of money that I've saved can actually take care of them for a longer while, compared to if they had to stay here back in the country and spend that money here. Yeah, so when people get to retirement age, and also because of the weather, people prefer to move to warmer areas and not have to deal with the winter when they are at an elderly age. Even though people choose to live when they retire, if you are able to secure a property for yourself at a young age and actually pay off before you are retirement age, this place can still be a good place for you to stay, considering that healthcare is available, though with the long waiting times. Let's talk about this next tip that gets people to leave this country, and that is the weather. I mean, you already know, right? Like the crazy winters. I have lived in the Northwest Territories before, and the weather there is extreme. Very, very cold, so much so that it takes just a couple of minutes or a stop at Walmart to have your car engine frozen. Wake up, walk to your car, and you are really not able to start your car. Or maybe you come back from work, get out of your car, get to your door with your keys, your hand is frozen and you cannot twist your hand to open the door. That's how bad the weather can be sometimes here. So people who do not like extreme heat or extreme cold or storms, they choose to go to warmer areas where they don't have to deal with all of these. The Canadian passport. One reason why people come here, the Canadian passport is very powerful. If you have the Canadian passport, you might have access to 186 different countries, whether it's with or without the visa or an ETA. Some people come here just to get the passport, and once they have it, they be like, okay, now that I have a means of going to anywhere else in the world, it is time for me to go. So once people have the Canadian passport, they prefer elsewhere, whether it's for any of the reasons above: warm temperatures, low cost of living, good weather, they leave and go to these other places. The next reason why people get out of here, when they come here and they find out that they need to start over. When you come here, education is good here, they want you to go back to school. If you had an engineering degree elsewhere in a different country and you come here, there are things that you need to redo, start from square one in order to reintegrate into the system. So most often when people come here and they find out that they actually are required to start as if they have never had education before, they compare the two and say, I think it's best to go back to my country and continue my work as a PhD holder and research scientist, other than be in Canada and have to go restart education from secondary school. And I know that Canada advertises to international skilled workers about all these opportunities and educational opportunities and career opportunities out here. I'm telling you, when we come here, that's not the same. Sometimes if you are into the trades regulations, there are jobs that are regulated and you have to follow the requirements, get certified sometimes when needed before you can actually work here. Sometimes it's even just English. You're being required to go learn English again and pass an exam before you can get into a program. Those things, not everyone is willing to let go of their past and restart afresh, especially as people move here maybe after their 30s. Like nobody wants to go back to secondary school in their 30s just because they are in Canada. So a lot of people choose to get out. Let's talk about vacation time. Here, average vacation time for Canadians is 2 weeks. Imagine working this hard for money which you will not even end up having in your account, and you are only offered 2 weeks of vacation time. If you even have to travel to see people during this time, like 2 weeks is literally nothing. So people prefer to go to places where they can have work-life balance, you know, have enough time off of work to take care of their families. Yeah, when people come here and they're only being offered 2 weeks of vacation, and obviously there's more that can be offered, but you need to earn it and work for a certain amount of time before you can earn more vacation time away. But on average is 2 weeks, that is 10 business days. So some people don't like this and they choose to get out and go work where they will have that life work balance and enough vacation time to spend more time with their families. High expectations. When people come to Canada with so much high expectations, you actually find out you might have cultural shock, the weather, houses are expensive, you need to restart afresh, or lack of access to services when you just come, change in environment. When you come and you had so much high expectations of how soon you're going to integrate, and you find that it's not as easy as we might make it seem online, some people just choose to leave because they get disappointed. Another reason why people choose to leave very fast is the difficulty to actually raise children. Daycare is very expensive, as much as $1,000 or $1,500 per child at daycare. Imagine you had 3 children, that is $3,000. And from where? Who earns that amount of money? Even the highly earned people can hardly pay $3,000 for their 3 children for daycare only. This does not include their diapers that they have to take to school and other requirements that the school requests that the kids bring along. So raising children here can be really difficult, and sometimes people don't even have people to take care of the children and just help them while they are working. And because of the immigration issues and visa issues, some people get denied visas even when they try to bring their families, if they're even allowed to bring their families. So all of these pile up, and some people who have families and cannot just understand how they can take care of their 1, 2 or 3 children and still work and still be able to pay the bills in this country, they end up deciding to go elsewhere where they might get more help to take care of their own children and maybe pay less for education. Yeah, so even getting into the daycares is very hard here. You have to get into a waiting list, and sometimes this list takes 3 years. My battery kind of ran down there, but that's all I wanted to share with you in this video. So I'm hoping that you would like, subscribe, and just let me know in the comment section what I missed sharing on this video. Like, what are the truths, some of the things that are not being told about Canada. Please share that in the comment section. Do not forget to hit the bell so that when next I upload a video, you will be the first one to see that video. Now, before I go, I'm going to put 2 videos on the screen here, and these are all about side hustles that we as women can get on and start making side income for ourselves. So feel free to click on any of the videos, and I'll also put some links in the description box. But feel free to also just go to my channel, because I share things about living in Canada, business, my lifestyle, and self-improvement on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I get to see you again